Hey everybody, Paul LeoGrande here with your December 2025 real estate market update for Gateway right here in Fort Myers. Thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to go through some of the data that we're seeing. All of the data you're about to see actually comes directly from the Florida Gulf Coast MLS, and the numbers are reflective of the end of November 2025. So the great thing here is it's not national data we're looking at. It's not what's in the headlines or guesses. This is what the numbers are actually reporting to us in the MLS at the end of November 2025. I always say real estate is hyper local. What's happening nationally doesn't always necessarily reflect what's happening in our communities. So that's why we continue to give you these monthly market updates. This channel focuses on everything to do with buying, selling, investing, and living here in beautiful Southwest Florida. I'd love to partner with you on your real estate journey. So give me a call or text me anytime at 239-228-1246 to have a chat. All right, let's jump on into the numbers. So we're first going to start here with closed price, and we're looking at the median here, right? So we're at 510 or $510,000. Now the keyword here is median. That means half of the homes sold for more than this price and half sold for less. So median price gives us a really clean look at the health of the overall market without the luxury homes skewing the numbers, if that makes sense. What this tells us is that appreciation in Gateway has been broad and consistent, not isolated to one segment of the market. So entry-level homes, move-up homes, and even downsizers are all contributing to this growth. For homeowners, this is strong equity growth that we're seeing, which is really good. For sellers, it means pricing power if the home is prepared and positioned correctly, right? So, and we've been telling that story for a while now. You do have the ability to sell your homes. We are seeing transactions happening every day. We are selling real estate in Southwest Florida, and we'll discuss throughout this market update. The market is relatively healthy here. That does mean, however, if you're a seller, you do need to do your due diligence and make sure that the home is prepared and appropriately priced. For buyers, it means waiting comes with a cost, not just in rates, but in prices, especially right now. The rates are kind of where, they're up and down. They're fluctuating slightly, but not a tremendous amount. However, what is happening is that the inventory is being reduced, right? We're seeing more transactions going through, which is putting a little more pressure on buyers. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the slides here. This is really the same data, just in line format that we're looking at and over the course of the past 10 years. So you can see the trends. Now, keep in mind when we're looking at this, we're going to see Gateway in blue throughout these slides, and Fort Myers will be represented in that pink purple. And right here, we could kind of see the trends, and both of them trend in the same way over the course of 10 years. Pricing we'll see is a little different in Gateway at times, and we'll be able to make those or show those relationships as we go through the slides. Closed price average. So now let's look at the average closed price here, which came in at $518,152. This is up 13.9% from the same time last year. Again, Gateway is in blue, Fort Myers is in pink. So when I'm talking about what is going up or down, it's specifically Gateway. That's really where we're focusing. I just like to include Fort Myers as a comparison so you could see. And you could see that the trend in Fort Myers actually dropped 22% from this time last year. So it's interesting to kind of see some of these fluctuations as we go. But overall, closed price, the average has gone up in Gateway. So this includes everything. When we're talking about averages, it includes all the higher end homes, the larger floor plans, newer constructions. So when both median and average prices are increasing, which is what we're seeing right now in Gateway, that's a sign of a very stable and healthy market. Now the fluctuation on the Fort Myers side isn't a tremendous amount, right? So I don't think we have anything to worry about there, but it's good to see that Gateway itself is kind of trending upwards. It also tells us that buyers are still comfortable purchasing at higher price points when the value makes sense, right? So homes that are updated, well maintained, and priced appropriately are continuing to attract strong interest, really. So next we're going to look at new listings. So in November, we saw 40 new listings, which is 17.6% up from this time or from November of last year. So at first glance, that might sound like inventory is flooding the market, but it's important to understand this in context, right? More listings simply mean more homeowners are confident enough that their homes are going to sell. They're seeing the price growth, they're seeing homes move, and they're deciding now is a good time to make that move. This is healthy. Markets need listings. Without them, buyers get frustrated and price spikes way too fast. So Gateway is seeing a controlled increase, not an oversupply, which is good. And looking back, you're talking about the difference, not a tremendous amount, 11 homes compared to 2023, 2024, and 2025. So it's again, pretty stable there. And although Fort Myers, you have to also remember Fort Myers is a lot larger than just Gateway, right? So sometimes we see those larger fluctuations, but really when we're calculating it based on percentages, it's not too different in the Fort Myers side, okay? All right, next will be the total homes for sale. So even with more listings coming on the market, total homes for sale currently sit at 153, where at the end of November was 153, which is actually down 1.3% year over year. Not a tremendous amount, so it's pretty stable there too. That tells us one very important thing though. Homes are being absorbed as quickly as they're being listed, okay? In other words, demand is keeping pace with the supply. This balance is what preserves sharp corrections and keeps prices stable over time, really. So just like we saw last month, a lot of these numbers just give us the sense that things are relatively stable, which we really like to see. This is the same graph in line format, and although, again, you can see ups and downs on the Fort Myers side, the trend stays the same on the Gateway side. So it is going up slightly here and back down in 2021, 22, and back up again in 2023 and 24. So following the trends appropriately. This is the month of supply and inventory available. So months of supply, Gateway is currently sitting at 5.8 months of supply, and that's down 3.3% from last year. So this is why that matters. 6 months of supply or inventory generally is considered a balanced market. Below 6 month favors towards the sellers, and above 6 month favors towards buyers market. Okay, Gateway is right near that sweet spot right now. So it's not a frenzied market, but it's also not slow. It's competitive, especially for homes that check the right boxes. So again, balance is something you'll hear us continue to say. It's relatively balanced at the moment. The next slide will be pending sales, and this is one of the most important slides in the entire presentation. So pending sales jumped to 38, which is a 111% increase from last year. So pending sales is really a forward-looking kind of number here. These are buyers who have already written offers and gone under contract. That haven't closed yet, but they're under contract. This tells us buyers' confidence is rising. It's not falling. People aren't scared to make offers at this point, right? They are putting the offers in, they are going under contract. When pending sales spike like this, it usually means buyers are no longer waiting on the sideline. So we're seeing a lot of motivation on the buyer side. They're locking in homes ahead of future competition, and they're expecting the market to remain strong. So buyers are getting the sense, oh, they can't wait forever anymore, right? They're seeing action, they're seeing these sales take place. Maybe they've noticed, they've been watching homes and they see them go under contract, and they might have been homes that they would have placed an offer on if they had the time that they thought they had, right? So we're seeing motion taking place, and more homes are going under contract, way up from last year, which is great to see. Next slide will be total closings. So we saw 23 total closings, which represents a 15% increase compared to last year. So not only are we seeing an increase in the homes under contract, we are seeing an increase in the completion of those homes under contract that are converting to closed sales. So closings confirm what pending sales hinted at, basically. Deals are getting done. Financing is happening, inspections are clearing, appraisals are holding, and this isn't speculative in any way, right? This is actual numbers that are being reported. So again, hints at and shows, reflects that it is a healthy market. Maybe it's not the number of sales we want to see. We always want to see more transactions, but things are relatively stable, which we're happy for. Next will be the percent of last list price. On average, homes sold for 97.1% of their final list price, which is up 1.4% from last year. So this means that sellers are giving up less in negotiations, basically, and buyers are coming in stronger with their offers. So well-priced homes are not seeing major discounts. And in some cases, multiple offers are pushing the prices back to ask or even above. So what is this number really looking at? Keep in mind, it's not the original list price. So if a home comes on market, let's say for $500,000, over the course of a few months, maybe it has some price improvements and it's moved down to a list price of $450,000 over the course of 90 days, whatever it may be. What we're specifically targeting is the number from the 450 to what the buyer offers and what it's accepted at. And that is that percentage fluctuation. So if the seller, the last list price is 450,000, buyers at that point are understanding that value and really not negotiating much, or there isn't much negotiation, I should say, after that final list price to make the offer and get the home. So that's that number. It's a very interesting number. We like to report on that. Next, we have median days on market. And the median days on market dropped to 54 days, and this is down 15.6%. So median days on market tell us what most homes are experiencing. Faster sales usually means buyers are decisive, homes are priced more accurately, and sellers are preparing their homes better before listing those homes. Okay, so it may be an education thing where sellers realize that, oh, in order for me to sell my home in the timeline I need to sell it in, I'm going to do my homework first. I'm going to make sure that it shows how I want it to show, right? The photographs are really good. They're taking recommendations from their real estate agents, which is really good, helpful to see. And it all relates to a speedier transaction. As these days on market go down, which we're seeing, from 64 last year to 54 this year, we're trending back to what it was in 2023, which is good. That means that the typical transaction time, or the typical days on market, I should say, before we go under contract is a lot less, which is good to see. This is the same thing in line graph form over the course of 10 years. Again, just trying to show you the trends, right? So we're back to that pre-pandemic timeline here. In fact, maybe even a little better at certain points. So a little lower, right? And that's good. I mean, you're always going to have these spikes, right? A really low timeline all the way back. If we look, when was that? 2016, right? So things happen. But nothing like as low as it was in the pandemic. It's pretty much stabilized back between that 40 and 60 or 40 and 80 day, right? So good to see there. Next, we have average days on market. And so instead of the median, this is, again, all encompassing. The average days on market came in at 81 days. That is down 27, almost 30% from last year for Gateway. It's the same for Fort Myers, no fluctuation there. But it's interesting to see this number in Gateway. So Gateway being a desirable area in Fort Myers, it kind of leads the trend for you a little bit, and it gives you some insight as these pockets of areas in Fort Myers that are really attractive, they tend to trend numbers more quickly than Fort Myers in total, right? So we kind of get an interesting perspective here, but also future kind of feeling like maybe this trend will catch up to Fort Myers in general, right, overall. But to see it go from 112 all the way down to 81 days on market, Gateway being desirable, transactions are happening faster. This tells us that even homes that may need a little more time due to their condition, layout, or price are still moving faster than they were a year ago. So, some final thoughts for you. What's the big takeaway from the December market update here? So Gateway continues to show strong home values, active buyer demand, and it's a balanced market overall. So we continue that trend. Some of the things that we see that we like, the price, the medium home price is going up slightly, but buyers are buying faster and they're buying more because they're understanding the value. So if you found this market update helpful, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any future updates on the Gateway reports we give, or the Fort Myers reports, or even the info we're giving in Southwest Florida as far as real estate goes. And if you're thinking about buying or selling a home in Gateway or Fort Myers or anywhere in Southwest Florida, I'd love, again, to partner with you on your real estate journey. Have a conversation. So you could always call or text me at 239-228-1246. I'd love to set up a chat with you. Thanks again for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next video.